All right, it is 6 p.m. We do have quorum. I'm going to go ahead and call this evening's meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals for the City of Florence to order. First item on this evening's agenda is approval of the minutes of the April 24th, 2025 meeting. Minutes have been submitted to members of the board in ample time for review. Are there any changes or amendments to these minutes? Being none, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The minutes are approved. Next item on this evening's agenda is BZA hearing number 2025-05. Request for variance from the lot size and setback requirements for a new development at 1203 Sopkin Avenue in the NC-6.1 zoning district, identified as tax map number 90099-12-016. Owner of record is Daddy Bummies LLC. Applicant is Abdul Zafir. And the board will now hear from city staff.
Good evening. Yeah, this is currently the site of a small, actually it was supposed to operate as a small convenience store, also I think operate as a club, illegal club at times. So the owner has decided that he recently applied to Planning Commission to have it rezoned. It was zoned campus because back in the day that little building was built as a church or used as a church. It was built as a laundromat, a small laundromat, then used as a church, and that's the use that was in place when it was zoned in 2018. And since then, it has been purchased, and they tried to use it, like I said, for a commercial use. But now they've applied to have it rezoned to the NC 6.1, and that just went through first reading, I think, with City Council. So we were very happy to see that happen. Yes. As you can see, there's no commercial anywhere in the area. So the owner wants to, it's a triangular shaped lot, and he wants to subdivide it to, in order to put a second house. He says he wants to convert the existing store building to a single family home and then build a second small single family house on the southern side of the parcel. This would be a rough way of subdividing it. He didn't want to pay a surveyor and everything until he knew whether or not y'all would be okay with this. So the total area of the original parcel is 11,172 square feet. In the NC 6.1 district, a new parcel is supposed to be a minimum of 6,000 square feet and 60 feet wide. So this lot is just under, it's 1,000 square feet under what you would need to get 6,000 for two lots. And the street frontage of the original parcel is 160. So he's got the 60 and the 60 there, but if he were to do it to meet that 60 feet, then it would be even smaller parcels. So playing with it, this is pretty much what we came up with, having a 5-foot side setback, and setbacks in the NC 6.1 are 5 on the sides, 25 in the front, and 25 in the rear. The existing building is only 15 feet from the front property line, so we would assume that a new house, we would want to put it at 15 feet as well, so that they at least lined up. And they're the only houses on this side of Sopkin Avenue. And so they basically need variances from the lot areas, the lot width, and then the front and rear setbacks for the new construction. I did notify all the neighbors, have not heard from anybody. Did not hear from anyone, and most of the lots in that area are roughly 8,000 to 10,000 square feet. So these would be a little bit smaller, but again, we're just happy to see it turned into residential use. And if he didn't get the variance, he would still turn that into a single family house, but it would be a little bit awkward just with a huge side yard. So That is what the request is, and here's some photos of it. As you can see, there's the building that he wants to convert to a house, and then on the left is the remainder of the lot that he wants to subdivide off and put a small house on. So that concludes staff's report.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions for city staff from members of the board? I actually have one. So we don't have any renderings of what he's planning to do. We just,
No.
so, okay. So right now, we just have an idea.
Right.
Okay.
So the variance would not be, exactly this, a certain amount, but it would be to fit two houses on there to divide it into two lots and then get it to fit as much as possible.
And the applicant's actually asking for variance with the width, front and rear setbacks
And the
for
area.
both of the lots itself,
Yes.
not just one.
Yeah, because to fit the house on there comfortably, and meeting the 5-foot side setbacks with the existing building results in a lot width of about 48 feet for the existing building.
And it's gonna be 60 for both of them? Well, one of them's gonna be a little bit larger.
Well, if we did it this way, using a 48-foot lot width for lot 1, which would be the one with the building, then lot 2 has about 112-foot lot width. So it's got quite a bit more, but because of the odd shape, it seemed, because there's really nowhere to push that house too much farther south because of the point of the lot there on the south side.
Does this? I'm sorry. Was that the only question?
Hey, keep going. Go ahead.
Does this site plan, does it take into account for the light pole that's in the pictures as well? It's like a sign and then a light pole.
Well, they'd be removing the sign.
They'd be okay.
What is that building to the left? That small?
The smaller one,
Yes.
I'm not sure. That's on a different parcel. That's on the adjacent parcel. Or, are you talking about behind the building? I think it's just a storage shed.
Oh, no, not behind, beside it, on the left.
On the-
beside it,
like
yeah.
on the
It's
top
pretty-
of the
it's like
picture?
Close, yes.
Yeah, that is, let me see if we can see it better. Yeah, it's on the adjacent parcel. It might be his, but it's not on his parcel.
What is that property zoned? It doesn't indicate on this map.
NC 6 oh, the one, that's in the county.
Oh, that's the county, okay.
And I believe it is unzoned.
You know what the current use is?
If you go up farther, it is Tommy's cars, but I think it's vacant. I don't think anything's happening there right now.
Yeah, I think that's the old textile mill that used to be there, and currently, I don't know if it's still used for that, but it's historically been used as a warehouse for old vehicles.
Closed for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know if Tommy's still storing vehicles in there or not.
I guess my only concern is if the board does approve this variance, then the owner's gonna have to find a way to squeeze a home into the space that's left, and my experience, it never works that way, so he's gonna have to come back for another variance request. I would just hate to do this over and over and over again without a specific idea of what he's planning on putting there. And since he did already say that if we don't do this, he'd be willing just to put one house on that lot, which solves the city's problem of trying, and the neighborhood's problem of trying to get away a commercial property in a residential neighborhood. I don't know.
So my question is, the existing building, he's planning on turning that into a residential home?
That's
also?
correct. Yes.
And you mentioned the first reading. That first reading was to change the zoning itself from CA to the current zoning,
The
which
NC
is surrounding
6.1,
NC
yes.
6.1.
Yeah.
And the first reading,
Yeah.
they went through. They got two more.
So, no, just one more. We expect that to get second reading on June 9th.
I know that is a residential neighborhood, and that would do a lot for that lot. I just need to see what's going to be done. I can't visualize with that. And the way, that triangle, it just bothers me.
It's an awkward
The way
lot.
it's awkward. And I don't know what that other little building is. It's so close.
Yeah, I don't know if Daddy Bummies put that there and is using it, not realizing it's not their parcel, their property.
That would be my guess.
Yes.
In which case, the adjacent property owner would have some rights to have that.
I'm sure, yeah.
Depending on how long it's been there, correct?
I don't think so. I think they could have it removed,
If he's using it, yeah.
or either offer him to purchase the property.
He's using it adversely as well, right?
But that's just speculation.
I don't know if there's a, yeah, you can't see it in this picture.
Are there any questions for city staff from members of the board?
You mentioned the minimum the square footage as well. They're asking for a variance with that as well.
Yes.
So currently we got 4. They're asking for 4 variants: the front, rear, width, as well as the minimum lot size.
Yes. So with roughly using these numbers, the first lot would end up being 5,127 square feet with 48-foot lot width, as indicated on the site plan.
As opposed to 60.
Correct, 6,060. But because it's at the fat end of the, for lack of a better word, of the triangle, it would still have adequate backyard with the setbacks, side setbacks. So that one, the building really wouldn't even need setbacks, except for the front, but it's pre-existing, so. That one, pretty much the only variances you would need for that one would be the area and width. And then for the second, the new parcel, the triangular parcel, for that you wouldn't need area because the area would be a little over 6,000 square feet, and you wouldn't need lot width because it would be over 100 feet. So for that one, you would just need setbacks for any new construction. And for there, just the front and the rear.
And just to reiterate, y'all did answer this, regardless of this variance passing, they are planning to do one of those, the current structure.
As far as I
a
know, yeah, he
residential.
just wants to renovate the existing structure.
Do you know if he's renting it out or if he's
I have
looking
no
to?
idea. I doubt he'd live there. I'm sure these would be rentals.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions from members of the board for city staff? All right, thank you very much, Lane. The board will now hear from the applicant, Mr. Zafir. He is here. Doesn't look like he is. Is there anybody else who wishes to be heard either for or against this variance request? All right. And just to make sure the board understands, we have received no communication from members of the public.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. There being no other comments, the chair will now entertain a motion to either approve or deny this variance request.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve based upon the following finding the facts, that a variance from the terms of the Unified Development Ordinance would not be contrary to the public interest where owing to special conditions, a literal enforcement of the provisions will in an individual case result in an unnecessary hardship. Its irregular configuration presents design constraints that prevent a conventional subdivision and development layout. This unique physical condition justifies the need for flexibility in applying dimensional standards. That the spirit of the Unified Development Ordinance will be preserved, public safety and welfare secured, and substantial justice done. By allowing a new lot to be carved out of the side yard, the applicant can make productive use of an underutilized portion of the property without compromising public safety, infrastructure capacity, or the residential character of the neighborhood. That there are extra extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to a particular piece of property. The existing structure was built prior to the adoption of the city's zoning regulation, placing the property in a unique situation compared to others in the area that were developed under current code requirements. That these conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. Because this property's shape and circumstances are exceptional and not shared by others in the vicinity, the conditions are specific to this lot and warrant consideration for a variance. That because of these conditions, the application of the Unified Development Ordinance to this particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unnecessarily restrict the utilization of the property as follows. The triangular shape of the lot combined with this slightly deficient area creates a condition where compliance with the UDO is disproportionately restrictive. And finally, that the authorization of a variance would not be of substantial detriment to adjacent property or to the public good, and the character of the district would not be harmed by the granting of this variance. Allowing the variance supports the public good by encouraging reinvestment in a way that is consistent with local character without imposing any measurable harm on adjacent property owners or the district as a whole.
All right, thank you, Mr. Poston. We now have a motion to approve the variance request. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Nolan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. Chair would like to call for a revote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries 3-2. The variance request is approved. Next item on this evening's agenda, BZA hearing number 2025-06, request for a variance from the minimum size setbacks required for new commercial buildings. Location is 1531 South Irby Street, tax map number 90093-01-013. Owner of record is Carolina Enterprises Incorporated. Applicant is Mike Paget of Paget Engineering and Construction. The zoning district is commercial general. The board will now hear from city staff.
All right. This is another small parcel. It is located next to Freedom Square on South Irby Street, across the driveway from the Kentucky Fried Chicken. And it is an L-shaped parcel, and this request concerns the portion that fronts on South Irby Street. It is zoned commercial general, as is everything around it, and the parcel immediately north of it is in the county. The setbacks typically for uses in the CG are 50 feet in the front, 20 on the sides with a total of 50, and then 40 in the rear. But it's that side setback that comes into play. This is a site plan that has been proposed, and so the minimum side setback that's required is 20 feet, and then with a total of 50 between the two sides. So the rear has 22 and 18. So the 22-foot one is fine. The 18-foot one is it was 10 feet or 18 feet 10 1/4 inches. So that one is, you know, just under a foot, just under 2 feet too small, and then together they don't quite make the 50. And then the front, they are 22 and 21. So the front matches the 20-foot minimum, but not the 50-foot total. And then the rear, one side matches the 20-foot minimum, but not the other side. And then again, that doesn't quite match the 50-foot total. So the variance would just be on those minimal reductions in the total side setback combination required. So these are some elevations of the proposed building. It's going to be just a spec building, office space, and parking would be in the front, but it also could share parking behind it. This is an aerial view of the parcel and then a view of it from the ground. So, forgot to do this in this last one, that a variance will or will not be contrary. Enabling the construction of this building with the smaller side setbacks will result in a compact site suitable for low-intensity commercial use. But enforcement of the 25-foot setback requirements will make this portion of the lot unusable for a reasonable-sized building. The purpose of side setbacks is to provide space around commercial buildings and distance between parcels. There is a very wide variety of setbacks in this area, negating the need to maintain any particular uniform appearance or character. If you look at it, the parcel that's in the county, the building is on the property line. This portion of the lot is narrow for a commercial parcel, which limits the size of the building that can be constructed there. There's a wide variety of lot sizes along this portion of South Irby. This one is small compared to others in the immediate vicinity. And again, if needed, there's shared parking available on the adjacent shopping center parcel. Because of small size of this portion, it's difficult to build a viable commercial structure within those setback limits required by the UDO. And granting the variance will not be detrimental to the character of the district. It will enable the construction of a new building to infill a vacant parcel that is currently an eyesore. And it does meet the front and rear setbacks, just to reiterate that. So that concludes staff's report.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from members of the board for city staff?
Did you say this was in the county?
No, this is in the city. The lot immediately to the north of it there is in the county. That little blank square there.
What is it currently being used for presently?
It's vacant land.
It's vacant.
Yeah, there you go. And as you can see in the lower picture, the building in the county is right on the property line there.
Are those signs for the adjacent business owners, or?
I believe so, yeah. They would have to be removed, I would think.
And Ms. Lane, staff report seemed pretty favorable in providing for this.
Yes, sir. As you can see, there was somebody selling watermelons on it the day I put my sign up.
Yes, yes. Just what we need, a lot more fresh produce around here. And these are, this current area, it's nothing, there's no overlay district, there's,
No.
okay, very well. Have y'all had many calls regarding the property?
We haven't had any.
Curiosity?
No,
None whatsoever?
none at all. Not even from the immediate next door neighbor.
Oh, okay. Which is in the county?
Right, but they got a letter anyway.
Oh. Okay. So regardless if it's in the city or the county, as long as it's adjacent property owners,
That's
they
correct,
still.
yes.
Are there any other questions for city staff or members of the board? All right, thank you very much. The board will now hear from the applicant, Mike Paget, or his representative. If you don't mind, sir, please stating your name clearly into the microphone.
My name is William Schofield. I'm the property owner.
All right, Mr. Schofield, do you promise that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth?
I do.
Go ahead, sir.
My name is William Schofield. I'm the president of Carolina Enterprises. I've hired Mike Paget to help me engineer a new building and to develop the land that my corporation owns over there currently. The lot's been empty. Been trying to figure out a way to utilize it instead of selling watermelons and hot dogs on it. Mike Paget and I came up with a 1,500 square foot floor plan that would be viable for it. 1,500 square feet downstairs, commercial lease available, and 1,500 square foot office above. The office above is for my business. The parking lot will be utilized anywhere. I mean, right behind it is the tobacco market and Florence treatment specialists. The sign that's up front is for them, but I will be taking it down and putting them on my main sign, which will help clean up, and we'll only have one sign at Freedom Square on that side instead of two different distinct signs cluttering up the airways. I think it'll be a great addition to Irby Street and begin to develop in the manner that I am trying to push South Florence into. DOT is working on a plan to cut a road through my property and Knight Furniture's property currently to help ease the burden at the stoplight at Second Loop in Irby, which means the rest of the property the grass lot will become road frontage. Unfortunately, I'll have to remove my new flagpole and my nice live oak tree for them, but it will create a road frontage option, and all future buildings will be built of this character, and I'm going to try and create another little mini downtown style shaped buildings over there with new roads, etc. Any questions for me, and I'll gladly entertain them.
This building will be used as an office space, I think it was.
Upstairs.
Upstairs.
Upstairs will be for my commercial property company.
Okay.
I currently don't have an office space for that company. I operate it inside of my hardware,
Awesome.
so it'll be a separate space for that.
How much traffic would you expect to come into that area?
Me, for main use for upstairs. There is interest from for downstairs for or what's it called? It's a Verizon company, for a cell phone company down below on the first floor. I can't remember what it's called, but there's interest for them for there. That's the same person that actually rents from me on the other side that rents and leases Boost Mobile, but they're going to be opening up a second one that's based under Verizon.
Okay. Thank you.
So I can't imagine more than 3 to 4 cars at a time, just like Boost Mobile. And then my car, I can park in the tobacco market. I can park at the hardware and walk over. It doesn't matter.
Or at the KFC, right?
I try, yeah, or the KFC. I'm sure Irby Wilson will let me do that. The building next door is in the county, and it is dead on the property line. I think it's an eyesore. I tried to buy it a couple years ago. I offered a lady twice what she paid for it. She turned me down. I will be putting up a fence all the way down that side in line with their building and my building, not to extrude past their building, just to kind of hide the metal siding that they have and all the weed growth on the side of their building, just to clean it up and make it look more presentable.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Schofield from members of the board?
Yes, sir. Mr. Schofield, you mentioned DOT be cutting the road. They won't be taking any of this property as far as, so we want to limit
No, sir.
the variance, what we're asking for setback.
No, sir. They're going to cut through the other side of Knight Furniture and cut into my parking lot, basically where it Y's off. And can you pull up the aerial real quick, and I'll be able to explain it better. They're going to turn my driveway into a road, basically.
Yeah, I understand. It's actually a smart idea.
To the
Right
south?
here, they're going to come through here, my property and my property, and create a road, and decide to turn it up here. And we'll have 2 curb cuts, one here and one here, and of course one on the Legion side.
Now, will there be any on your vacant property currently right now?
Nope.
Any plans whatsoever?
Nothing yet, but it'll be the same style buildings that I'm building now. Be 2- and 3-story buildings.
And I'm guessing a traffic light where it
The
enters
traffic
in.
light is already here, so they're just trying to utilize that traffic light.
But again, it won't affect as far as taking any of
But they take none of that property.
none of that property.
Any other questions from members of the board for Mr. Schofield?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I know you mentioned the top portion will be a commercial property office. The lower, is it the top was going to be the
Top's
commercial?
going to be my office.
And the rear, the lower portion You have, is it professional
Potentially,
office?
potentially it'll be a phone store.
Oh, okay, potentially.
Potentially. Do not have a signed lease. Trust me, that's the reason I'm trying to build more, because I'm full and I need more space. Can't grow if you don't build.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Schofield.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do have
Oh.
one more question. I'm sorry. She mentioned the watermelons. Do they sell a lot of watermelons out there?
They've been there for about a week and a half,
About
and
a
it's
week and a half.
temporary. I think their last week is this weekend.
Okay. Is it South Carolina grown?
All right, we have derailed.
I really don't even know.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Mr. Schofield.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anybody else who wishes to be heard either for or against this variance request? All right. There being no other comments, the chair will now entertain a motion to either approve or deny this variance request.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve based upon the following finding of facts. That a variance from the terms of the Unified Development Ordinance would not be contrary to the public interest where owing to a special conditions, a literal enforcement of the provisions will, in an individual case, result in unnecessary hardship. Granting the variance would allow for a compact, appropriately scaled building suited for low-intensity commercial use, which is in harmony with the surrounding area and consistent with sound planning principles. That the spirit of the Unified Development Ordinance will be observed, public safety and welfare secured, and substantial justice done. The main purpose of the side setbacks is to ensure there's enough space around buildings and between properties, but in this area, there's already a mix of different setback distances, so there's no consistent pattern or appearance to maintain. Approving this variance wouldn't harm the character of the area. It would actually allow the property to be used in a reasonable and functional way without negatively impacting neighbors or public safety. That there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. This narrow frontage creates a physical limitation that is specific to this property and justifies the need for a relief from the standard setbacks requirements in order to make reasonable use of the land. That these conditions do not generally apply to other properties in the vicinity. Most surrounding properties don't face the same size constraint, and the availability of shared property at the adjacent Freedom Square makes a smaller, more compact use of this lot more reasonable. That because of these conditions, the application of the Unified Development Ordinance to this particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property as follows. The small size of this portion of the lot makes it difficult to build a viable commercial structure within the setback limits required by the Unified Development Ordinance, effectively limiting the property's development potential. And finally, that the authorization of a variance would not be a substantial detriment to adjacent property or to the public good, and the character of the district would not be harmed by granting of the variance. Granting the variance would not harm the district's character. In fact, it will allow for the construction of a new building that will fit a vacant parcel and eliminate an eyesore, enhancing the overall appearance and value of the area.
All right, thank you, Mr. Poston. We do have a motion to approve the variance request. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Valver. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The motion carries. The variance request is approved. The third hearing has already been resolved on this evening's agenda. There being no other items to discuss, is there anything that needs to be brought before the board's attention from city staff? No. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. This evening's meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.